Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back. And like I said, we're here for the BMW brake change. So like I said, the BMW needed a complete brake overhaul. It needed front rotors and rear pads, but I said at that point just do all of it at once. So here we are, doing it all at once. Let's jump into it. So clearly I already have it done, but I can give you guys a quick little rundown on what you are going to need to do to get this done. First, what you're going to need is a 17 mil to take the wheel off. 17 mil by 5 lugs. We'll take the lug studs off, so you got 17s for your lug studs. Once the wheel gets pulled off, you are going to need to, I would find the wear sensor first and get that out of the way. All you got to do is basically push on the sides and pull straight up out, and then undo it from the bleeder, that clip. There should be a clip here and a clip here, but it looks like the previous owner snapped the clip off. No surprise, plastic clip, they don't last long. He had it zip tied with some big boys. I just cut them off, and then I'm running those little dinky ones for now just to keep the wires straight and there. Once you get that off, by the way, that will lead down to your side skirt. This is the passenger rear, which is the only one with the sensor. On the E83 BMWs, the passenger rear has the sensor and the driver front has the sensor. But you're going to need to get to the rest of the wear sensor. So once you get all of this freed up, you'll have to come up underneath under the car, this corner section, and it's going to be two 8mm, one here, one there. Take those two out. You could take the little push clip in the back out if you want. I'm just letting it hang out there because those push clips usually bust off, and I do not have a replacement for that, so I'd rather just have it dangle there and hope that I don't break it. But then you'll have to get up underneath of there, which you will then see that it wraps up around this arm down into this little junction box. This junction box here unclips from the top. You have a clip there, clip there. You have to go up, reach up around it, unclip it. Get some better space in here. It's a tight fit. Unclip it. As you can see, there's two clips there. This door swings down, and then we'll show you the two things. Looks like the previous guy didn't put this one in right. I just put this one in. I didn't realize that earlier. But this whole piece will literally just pop right out, and then you unclip it from right here when you have it in your hand. So when you have it in your hand, basically grab the sides, pull it straight out, and then this piece, as you can tell, it acts like a seal on the junction box, so make sure that seals back up. Once you have the new one on, reconnect it, and make sure the wire on that side does not get pinched, because if it gets pinched, that would probably throw a code if you do end up damaging that wire going to the ECU side. But that once you're done, pop it in, and then you're just going to close the door up. Just remember, it has two clips like this. You'll hear clip 1, clip 2, and you're good. That whole setup is the same for rerouting it, but if you do reroute it, I would stop about right here so you can mess with all this stuff a while. Now what you can do, depending on how you want to do it, I would go caliper first, which is going to end up being 2 7 hexes, which is going to be one right up top here and one right down here. Now when you go to do it, the bottom one's pretty easy to get to. The top one, however, you will have clearance issues with the shock itself. So if you get in here, you're gonna have to get a little stubby, or if you don't have a stubby on you, I did do a little easy way to do it. This is just a 45-bit, but this is a Torx, so if you do this, make sure you're careful, and hopefully it was torqued correctly beforehand. I just used the T45 and a 1/4-inch socket, and I got that off. Like I said, you're gonna need a decent wrench for that because this is a 1/4-inch, so it's a very small ratchet to be messing with that. You could also try to do it with the T45 bit, but like I said, so when that's in there, you have like no space, so you're gonna have to either get a shorter version of the socket setup like this, or preferably obviously a 7 in this size that's just a little stubby, and this is for 3/8. But once you have both of those out, you can pull the caliper off because you don't have to worry about the wear sensor anymore because you took that off first. Once it's out, this brake pad should just fall out. This back one is actually clipped into the piston, like so. As you can see, it's actually clipped in there. It literally just clips in, and then it works as basically it just holds itself together. You will have to decompress your piston, which is why I would highly recommend a piston tool for your calipers that literally drives the piston back. Just make sure you watch your brake fluid up there, because like I said, when you're pushing this piston back, it's going back into that reservoir up there, so you don't want to over pressurize the reservoir. Once you have that in there though, clean up the calipers and all that good stuff. I use the wire brush brake cleaner. Obviously I use the oil pan to help catch anything because I didn't want to stain up the driveway. Don't let this just drop. Try to hang it off of, I would try to hang it off the coil here. Just don't let it just dangle by the cord. A lot of people do that, just don't. It stresses that line out, especially a line as old as one of these. More than likely it will be fine, but if you're that one person, it won't be fine, and that would suck. So I would definitely hang that up. Next, you will need to get this bracket off to free this. The bracket is going to be fastened down by 2 16s, one here, one down here. So 16, 16. That'll pull that bracket off. Once the bracket's off, same thing. I would clean it up a little bit because it's probably crusty and dusty. That leaves this free. If yours is like mine, it will look like this is part of this, but it's not. It's just that badly built up inside that ridge there. We'll get to that next, but you will need to take out your set screw for the rotor. A lot of the times guys don't put that set screw back in because one, it's just a pain, and two, half the time if you over tighten them, when you go to service it again, you're probably going to end up snapping that off or stripping it out, which that turns into a whole pain as well. But in order to get that set screw out, you're going to need a size 6, and a size 6 will get up in there and take that out, preferably if that's not beat. Once that's off, it'll pull the whole rotor off. You'll have your emergency brake in there all set up. I wouldn't mess with it too bad. Usually the emergency brakes don't really get too worn down too quick because it's an old drum style. But if they do look bad, you can replace them, but that would be a whole nother video, messing with drum brakes. But you can, when you go to get these rotors on, you're going to need, obviously you're going to need the rotor. I'm using the dynamic friction rotor, which is going to be a 604 31140. DFC pads that are ceramic, that's going to be a 1600 0683-00. That also came with brake hardware, which is 340 31011. And then you're going to need your sensors. I honestly mixed up the sensors, so I would tell you which one's which, but I'm going to assume this one because it's the bigger one. It's going to be 341 31028. Just keep in mind, the bigger or longer sensor is going in the back. The shorter sensor, as you can see here, it's a lot shorter. Goes in the front. This is the front sensor, and that's the rear sensor. And like it should, if you guys get the whole kit that gives you new hardware, like I said, it'll come with new boots and everything, and you can just, the old ones, literally you can just grab it with a pair of pliers and pull them out and then clean up the hole. And then I basically just took them and then kind of like did one of these numbers, folded it in half and then shoved it up through. But that'll do that. But you'll need those, at least those rotors, or a set of rotors, obviously, to do rotors, pads, and the wear sensors. And just so you guys can touch base on what mine were looking like, those are my rear pads. they're pretty worn down, and that triggered the sensor. And here's my rear rotor. Obviously we got some grooving going on, along with, we got a nice little rust spot here. That's cool. But yeah, they definitely just need it replaced. And once you get all that stuff done, you just basically put it all back together. You put the rotor on it, put the set screw in it. I'll have torque specs in the description box. You're gonna want to put this on. If you do replace these, like I said, I would, fold them and then stick them through. The old ones, like I said, you can grab the top of them and literally just pull them out, and it'll pull right through, and then clean up the inside holes. Brake pads, obviously, the clip side goes into the piston. The flat side stays on the outside here. This wear sensor, as you can see, just literally clips in there. It has a recession. You can only put it in one way, so you shouldn't be able to mess that up unless you force it in. It doesn't take much force. Just a little push and it clicks in place. And then you take the wiring, wrap it around this, pop this cover off, stick it through, wrap it through there, run it down through. Obviously you'll have clips, not zip ties. You'll have clips like this, but you literally just open the clip up like so. Don't bend it too far, you'll break it, and then clip it in place. Same thing with that one and that one, and then I already showed you how to get all that stuff as well. For the most part, pretty straightforward job. The driver's side will be easier because I won't have to worry about the wear sensors. Same setup, same tools. It's just no wear sensor. Wear sensors are only on passenger rear, driver front. So the front will be about the same, but I'm gonna make a whole separate video on doing the fronts for the BMW X3. But with that being said, I'm gonna end this video here. That was just a quick little rundown on how to do it. Like I said, torque specs will be down below, and I'll also add part numbers for everything in the description as well. But if you did like the video, go ahead and leave a like. If you want to see more videos, let's say on the BMW, the truck, Mustang, or Subaru, subscribe to the channel. Also, if you're feeling wild, go ahead and share the content, because every time you share the content, it grows the channel. And when you grow the channel, I can do more cool stuff like this just for fun. But with that being said, I'm going to get back to it because I got to finish putting that together and then do this side. I'll upload this video today, and then I'll wait and do the fronts probably tomorrow. This is Friday, I think it's like August 15th or something. So August 16th, Saturday, I'll probably upload the fronts. But besides that, stay tuned because we got more coming, especially the truck's getting some love next, because on the board, as you can see, we got a lot of stuff going on. So the Dodge is gonna, hopefully I can try to get all of this done, or at least half of this list done this week. The rad doesn't come until Tuesday or Wednesday next week, so I'll be able to do at least the plenum gasket and at least maybe the door handles this weekend, but none of this other stuff's going to get here in time. The control arms, the blower motor, and rad are coming next week, so I won't be able to get half that done, but I can at least finish this while I'm down waiting for that. But besides that, thanks for watching, guys, and like always, stay safe out there, and when you're doing this stuff, use a jack stand. Use a jack stand, guys. That's going to be it for this video. I'm out. Peace, guys.